Good evening.
Hello.
Ahoy. Oh.
Okay.
I love Eros. Very nice work, Cutter.
I am having some issues. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Cotta.
Hello, boss. How are you today, sir?
Very well. All good. Thank you. And yourself?
I'm fine. I'm always fine. Even when I'm not fine, I'm fine. I try to be always in a positive mindset.
What resolution is your Aros workbench here?
It is 1376. Here, I'll show you. Do y'all can see that?
No.
Can you see the arrows I'm sharing?
Ah, yes, I can see it. Hey,
Okay, so I
fantastic.
shall go here to work. I set it to the highest one. Looks beautiful, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Outstanding. I don't know about the poopy color scheme, as my nephew would say, but we could change that.
Well, that was cafe.
Actually,
Caffeine
that.
colors, you know.
Yeah.
It's actually no. I had it higher, so I don't know what's. This is on the 1200, so I had it a bit higher, but now it looks like it's. Well, this is the version you did this morning, Cotter.
Yes,
So
that is basically for the V4, so we
Yeah.
top it up to this resolution for now. But you can enable. I tell you how you do it. That
Okay.
to enable higher resolutions later.
Okay. Yeah, it looks great, regardless of whether it's 960 by 540 or the higher HD resolutions. I mean, it looks fabulous. It's snappy. I mean, if this is the state we're at now, I can only imagine when it's optimized.
That's on the V1200. Yeah.
V1200,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice that we can do all this. Let me stop sharing. I just wanted to share for the sake of
Can
sharing.
you do me a favor?
Sure.
Have you deleted the library I told you? You click on the workbench. Workbench. No, not there. Yes.
Where? Oh, here.
In an empty space in the
Empty
picture.
space. Yeah.
Click 2 times on the picture. Look at
Okay.
now.
All right.
Click on arrows. Let's say arrows.
Okay.
Now go to libs. Okay, now you search a library that is called Screen Notify.
This guy.
Yeah. Delete the fucker.
Filha da puta. Okay.
Fantastic. Reboot the computer.
Optimal. Reboot.
No, you don't. No, you don't need. Click the little. No. Wait.
Okay.
Click
What else?
click the shift add.
The Indian window.
Yes,
Okay.
window. Drag. Click in libraries to the right
Libraries.
and see if it's loaded or not. This screen Notify library.
This is the actual libraries that are loaded. Nope.
No, fantastic. Now you can quit. This is also running under Zune. This will be faster if you run over MUI. You have to enable the MUI.
This guy
Start
over here?
MUI. Yeah, but now leave it now. Okay, it will not.
Okay.
It will try, but yeah, could not. Yeah, okay. You can close it.
Is that
But
a script you made?
to
Is that a script that you did made?
yeah.
Okay.
What I wanted to test with you is if I'll buy some. Go to the work music.
Excuse me. Work. Music. Music.
Now call EPO. You see it?
What's that?
EPO.
Hippo?
EPO. Okay,
Mhm.
run it.
Hippo
Run it.
player?
Run it.
Okay.
Play music. Need to play. Yep.
So let's go add.
Play. Click on all.
Let's go. All.
Okay.
All these guys? Wow. Oh, you're
Hey,
trying to add a
no matter.
playlist? Hit OK?
Okay, it's okay. Let it play a bit.
Oh, I haven't it routed to my speakers, so.
No. Now click in the work drive icon and arrows icons and tell me
Okay,
if
so
it
work.
opens or not.
No, it doesn't. Hold on a second. Nope. She be dead.
Motherfucker.
So whilst this is running, it looks like you say, these jokers won't open.
Multitasking is overrated.
Hey,
Hey, Igor!
Okay, I mean, I just was like kind of sharing this for the sake of sharing because it's I have it all set up. I have all my Amigas routed through a capture card, so I wanted to share. But I mean, you all want to start the meeting, I'll stop sharing. But thank you for your help, Cotter.
thank you too for your help because
Okay,
something
let's
is not
start then.
right. Let's start.
Sharing, I found this very nice to view. It's great progress to see. Yeah. And thanks a lot to all involved, Ronnie, Cotter, Chrome for the logo. I think we make the progress and speed up here on improving. This is nice to see. And I look forward that we can make a release, hopefully months based on this. Let me start with some minor information. We got last week the new PCBs, which
Hi, Jens.
Jens is there below the bridge, yeah, which he did lay out. And I delivered those to Bene, which you will recall from the Amiga 34. He will this week solder them, and then we can test them and see if they are working, which I am pretty sure. And this will save me a lot of time because on the old ones I needed to yellow wire a little bit by hand, and this is now fixed on the PCB. And also, as a nice hidden feature, there will be a second USB port on the front, allowing to add a joystick. So this will be the future from this month on, what type of V4 we will then plan to produce. The production should hopefully be faster than before. Bene did order a new solder robot placement machine right for us, which will allow him to produce the boards faster. The old one, he has a very old machine, which was not bad, like in the early 90s or so, but which has problems to grab and hold all chips. So he always needs to put the FPGA on each card manually. And the new robot can do everything automatically, and it's also a little bit faster, like twice as fast. So this will help to get out more cards produced more reliable at the same time. So this is nice. And I think I have very good feeling working with him together because Ben is a very flexible guy. So if we need to do something, he is open to do it on a Saturday or yeah. So he's very uncomplicated to help us to debug stuff and so. And I have the feeling we won't get this easily from a big company. And also, which is very nice, that he's not so far away. Like I need to drive.
It's not just a feeling. We have been to some companies and asked for the Bestückung, yeah, placement, and they were quite expensive, or say, oh, you're a small company, we don't want you like this, or so. And Ben is really great, intelligent, and perfect guy for us, I think. And it's great that he bought this new Robota, so we are.
Yeah, we are in a strange position. We don't have so high production that it makes sense to talk to some companies with our small runs, and we are here in Germany, in our area, are a number of companies which do very small runs, especially like for Porsche or Mercedes-Benz to for the Formula One they run in. But they have incredible prices. Like if you go there one and you want 100 cards, they say, okay, this makes 50,000 euros. So because they are used to Porsche and Bosch and Mercedes-Benz paying insane prices for these small runs, right? And these are no good partners for us. And the big guys are also no good partner for us. We need someone in the middle. And Bene seems he's the absolute right person because he also has the right Amiga spirit. Yeah, he's totally uncomplicated, and yeah. So I'm very happy with him here, and I hope he will continue to work like this also the next years with him. So thank you, Jens, for the PCB fixes and the new layout. And also thank you, Kotta and Ronnie and Chrome and all the others working on Apollo OS. This is super. I'm very, very happy about all this speed up we are making here. Some of you may have noticed, I'm also making little progress on the core side. The PAL and Chunky mixture is working again better now. I'm testing new stuff here, and I'm currently running a new compile in the background, which will, there's still a minimal incorrection in the shift of the PAL, which should be fixed later today. So the current core, which we have released today here, is fixed for 960 times 540. I have the feeling that at least on my screens, this gives a good, or let's say an excellent picture for low-res PAL and VGA 320 and 640. So my, yeah, let's say the screen looks very good on all screens I tested for those resolutions. So they're very nice square pixels. Maybe we could today or tomorrow, when the people have time, help me test this, if this also looks good on your screen. And I'm hoping that we find there a setting where the audio is stable, no hiccup, no glitches, and we at least can have a medium workbench resolution with 960 times 450 and a perfect looking PAL low-res and high-res for the old games. I mean, PAL low-res for the games and 640 VGA 480 for Doom and Quake or whatever, and Diablo. So if we, I know this is not perfect, full HD and 4K resolution would be perfect, but this might be a nice, let's say, compromise we could use for Kotta's new release next month. And if Kotta could tune the Apollo OS that this looks nice with the background resolution, the backdrop images in this format, and ours doesn't need to scale it on loading and so on and so forth, then I think this would be kind of smooth.
You did your homework with Simo.
Yeah, I have to congratulate Igor, Seymour, and everyone else helping here. The good news is here, I don't know if Igor told everyone that the V1200 FPGA load has now everything enabled at the same time. We have access to the Mobo mainboard IDE, to the Vampire IDE, and to PCMCA. Igor, maybe you can say something to this.
Prost
so, cheers and congratulations, Igor, on this.
Hi. Are you happy with Miri?
Yes, we are.
I'm asking him, is he happy? Is he satisfied?
Me?
Yeah.
Ob du glücklich mit mir bist.
Oh, yes. Thank you. We are happy.
Okay, now seriously, I was about to publish an article about our work. Probably my connection is off again.
We can hear you.
We can hear you, but we see a standing picture. And now we don't hear you anymore.
Okay, maybe let me, until he reconnects, talk about something else real quick. As you all know, we have in Germany lots of regulations, rules, and other problems. And Miri is helping us here, or me. She founded a company which will hopefully help to sell the Vampire Force. You know, we need to follow these refurbishment and fill out paperwork, how many kilos of boxes you produced for recycling and all these kind of shit. And to put this all onto a legal better ground, Miri started.
I quit my job as a teacher, and now I'm das Mädchen für alles at his side. I don't know the English word for it. And beneath being
same like he did for me.
So, yeah. Exactly.
I did the same.
And
he made some influence on us. He made such influence, the same influence to me and you.
Yeah, we decided that it's not only being the Mädchen für alles, and I want something for me of my own, and so we now decided that there has to be another part of for the selling the V4. So that this is this is a bit better organized. I hope that I will. I hope that maybe Tuko can help me, or Stefan with their. They have much more experience in selling and all the database stuff and all this. I hope that maybe together we will make this old-fashioned man here. You know what I mean, Tuko? Yeah. Yeah, it will take sometimes, but I'm hopefully that it will go all a bit faster and a bit more professional, and for our customers a bit more reliable and all this.
We made some progress here. I mean, in not too long ago, we packed every package, then drove to the next big city to bring it to the post office of DHL, and this took quite a bit of time. We now have a deal with UPS, and they come to our house door, and they pick up a basket full of packages now. So we're getting this all organized to be smoother and be less work also for me, so I can code more on the AGA.
Nice.
regarding our Slack, Stefan did a nice poll. My outcome from this, or my what I took away, was that most people were not so interested in switching to another platform.
Du bist so schnell. Vom einen zum anderen.
Yeah, and I have the feeling that we stay with Slack right now. And if this is the case, I think it would make sense that we discuss if we want to invite all our existing customers. Tuko and Igor have a database of, I don't know, 5 billion emails or so, which have voiced their interest in the V2. We could all invite them to our Slack support channels. And I think we should also all invite the people which have signed up for getting a V4, but not even have one yet. It doesn't hurt if they are all in there, I think, and can talk, and maybe they have questions which we can answer upfront. I believe also our Amiga OS problems, which we talk about there, or people help each other, these people can also contribute. What do you think? Any objections on doing this?
Sounds good.
Sounds
Okay.
good, yeah.
So now the decision is made that we stay in Slack. Is it right?
For the work that we do right now with the customer, I think Slack does the job okay.
Yeah.
I have no feeling that it's bad. And I like about it that the spam bots cannot come there so easily. And if someone, people cannot make so fake accounts like we had in IRC before. Yeah. You have an idiot coming in IRC talking all bullshit. And when Tuko threw him out, he rejoined 2 minutes later and so on. So I think with Slack, this is not the problem anymore. And I think this is also needed that we have better control there.
I like that Slack has the feature that you can answer to a post directly in a thread, so that you don't clutter too much of the feed with one discussion. You can easily go in a side discussion using threads, and I want to promote threads more because I think it makes everything more readable.
Yeah, that's right.
Our dog is running away. He needs to catch it.
It's just, sorry, I've been yelling at this computer screen and not realizing the mute button was on. The question for me is, how do we invite people that we don't have an email to address to, because this is an invite-only system, right?
I think we could put something like a web link on our forum where people could invite themselves. We could discuss about this. And also, I believe, I mean, if we invite all the people which we have as customers already or which have pre-ordered, we should have many people there. I don't know if there are so many people then missing. So I think such a bulk invite email where we invite the old 2000 V2 users or so would be great to get started.
And is it, I can invite people, and I think everyone can invite people, right? So if we invite all these people in the database, I think everyone who wants to be invited knows someone who can invite him. You know what I mean, Bonnie?
Okay, if it's like that, that's easy solved.
There is on the left side, there is a button, invite people, and you can, I think everyone can invite people.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy. There was a discussion on Facebook about, I think, or a question from someone about for what we established this Apollo OS. And I don't know, I think it was Chrome who answered, but I'm not sure anymore, but I think it would good if Gunnar would say something to that point.
I said it already in Slack, but it makes sense to repeat what I think. I believe Amiga OS was great. I think AROS has the right spirit, but I feel AROS did a big mistake with this abstraction layer because it not allows to run all these OS patches, which we all know, like master control program, all these system patches which directly patch the OS kill themselves often on AROS because AROS has this abstraction layer and then some stuff then not works so much as before. And I hope that by removing this abstraction layer, the compatibility with all the old stuff could be highly improved. This will be a lot of work, but I think this is the right direction to make our OS as compatible as possible. I also feel that this abstraction and the goal to run on so many platforms at the same time made AROS impossible to develop in the manpower. Like if you wrote something, you needed to test it on so many different platforms to ensure that it's working on Intel, on Mac, and blah, blah, blah. And also this added so much complexity that stupid guys like me had problems following the source code of AROS. I think our best chance for success will be to keep our focus as narrow as possible. If we focus only on our platform and only look to that we test it on our system, I think we can keep the work to a limit. Yeah, and I have the feeling that John is looking into ideas to rewrite exec kernel from scratch, maybe to redo some of the low-level part which was written in real Amiga OS in assembly, to rewrite this maybe in the future again on AROS also in assembly, to be very close to what the original Amiga OS did. This includes for me the stack layout and a lot of other things to be the same as on Amiga OS, to have all tools which rely on this, like debuggers or so, to work exactly the same on our OS again. And for all this work which we do there, I see here memory copies or screen refresh draws and all this stuff. We could directly also again code in assembly. Right now, AROS does a lot of stuff in C and sometimes has like optional assembly code which they put in for the appropriate CPU. We don't need to be that complex. We could write one memcopy routine in assembly and we know this runs perfect for us or very good for us and case closed. I don't think we should do the mistake here and try to cover as many platforms as AROS did before. And if John writes some kernel stuff, I think he would save a lot of time if he writes it once for the Vampire and not does lots of testing what CPU is in there, how do I enable the cache on the 020, how do I do it on the 040, how do I do it on the 060. Do it once for us, limits the testing effort and all this work.
As a first priority to go for the V4, then for sure for V2 and V1200, and then looking where we are and maybe going somewhere else, but not the first step, developing something for some old Amigas which have not our CPU. That was a question when I remember right in Facebook.
Yeah, I think the task is already big. And if we could avoid work, save time, our chance to succeed will be higher. This is my point of view. How do you guys see this?
Agree, 100%.
I have a question with regards to if it's coded for our processor and we're not using AMMX, would it then work okay on an 040 and an 060?
Yeah, this is a question, right? I mean, the 060 has a lot of instructions missing. The 060 have no move P. I could name here like a dozen instructions which are different or missing. Like the 060 has no 64-bit multiply or 64-bit divide instruction. And if you try to have it run everywhere, you need to avoid those, or you need to replace those with a subroutine call of like 100 assembly instructions doing the same. So this
is possible with AMMX as well?
What, to avoid them?
To replace them with software?
Everything is possible. People flew to the moon, they claim, they claim, right? I mean, but this was a lot of effort and took a lot of money. And I don't think we have this much time to avoid this. I believe if we write
maybe at the end as a nice to have.
A drawing routine which is copies the windows or so, and we tune it for AMMX, and it runs 5 times faster than the C code, then we can be happy, right? I don't think we should waste people resources to write it in assembly for an 040 and to look for a solution which runs nice on an 062. This is not our call. We don't make money on selling warp accelerators, and it's not our call to make the OS run for them perfectly. If we waste time, literally waste time on this, I think we do a bad job for our customers, right? Our customers want the very best OS we can deliver for the Vampire. And if we do, let's say, 30% of the work by focusing on one CPU, we can solve 3 problems instead 1 at the same time. This is at least my point of view. Do 1 right is better than doing 3 things bad.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm just wondering, can we do assembler optimization for our platform and just leave C code for the rest where that makes sense? That's just that I see that people outside of the Vampire world are getting a little bit excited about this, and I wonder if we couldn't make more friends by offering or at least having a version of Apollo OS that would run on at least an 040 and 060, okay, maybe without the optimization, but at least leave the possibility that someone else outside of the project could bring that optimization, that we don't have to spend that time.
Well, I think, to me, this is absolutely no priority. To me, the goal is to revive Amiga. It's as simple as this. And to revive Amiga, we need the hardware, we need the CPU, we need the chipset, and we need an OS. And to make this OS good is important for me. And I hope that this OS also uses our hardware good, or as good as we could. So I see here in the future that we maybe could boot from our Ethernet port directly over network, or I see here that we have features like pip or so also be used by the OS, and our pip is working or should be working the same on V4 and V2s. So I think if we focus on these things, then we do right. And I see here very little usage for working on another system, right? So they won't have pip, and they won't have this or that. So we have very, let's say, we have a lot of new hardware ideas or improvements, or we want, for example, have this new audio system and these new audio registers in the future also on V2. And if we want to add support for this to the OS, and also always need to make a compromise to have this running on AHI or something for the others, I'm not sure we're helping us with this.
I think a software developer has a different view of this. A software developer wants to have a large user base, a broad audience, and this he can achieve that when software is running on all systems. And if you make it easy to say it runs on the old system, but it runs faster on Vampire, he would more likely use that library?
I don't think that we increase user base by this, honestly. I believe we have like 2,000, 3,000, whatever Vampire 2s in the field. We could have in maybe end of the year a big number of Vampire 1200 and a big number of Vampire 4s in the field. So we could have our own user base of maybe 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 users. This is big enough for me. I don't think that any ARCA accelerator from Jens Schönfeld has the horsepower to run AROS at all. AROS runs like slow motion compared to OS 3 right now. And only by us tuning it heavily with AMMX and so on, for the graphic part, it becomes usable. If you look at the assembly right now or the C code for the drawing, an 030 is fucking too slow. It feels like frozen molasses to use AROS on an 030. So by making it run on an 030, I don't think we make anyone happy. We maybe make UAE users happy, right? But this is not my goal, to be honest. I don't think that UAE is reviving Amiga. I think this is a different approach or different goals than we have. And I'm hoping that, Jens, you know, you work on the V4B or V5 or whatever now. And I see this as the right direction to revive Amiga. And maybe we can also next year put something like this in a laptop case or so. And maybe we will have a new accelerator for Amiga 5000, 4000, yeah, or another model with more slots. So I think this is the way we should go, and we should focus on our own stuff. I don't think that the old, I mean, the War is a nice card, but let's be honest, who has a nice 060 laying around? This might be 100 people, 200 people, maybe 300. But this is not a big user base compared to our 3,000 or 4,000 people have. So, yeah.
I mean, I tend to agree. To me, I look at the V4 as more a, you know, sort of a closed product ecosystem. It's kind of like selling Sony's PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4, it needs an OS, but it's not an OS that they care about making a consumer general consumption operating system for everybody out there with a PC compatible. All it has to worry about is the exact specific components that are in the PS4, and that's how they get the most out of it.
Yeah, I see it like you guys a little bit with one maybe additional point is that what AROS is now is it's an Amiga, it's a Workbench 3.0 compatible API, and nothing in that API right now says it has to work with Picture and PNP. We already have a working version that will work on all processes. Like Gunnar says, it runs really, really slow. But I don't see a problem to leave the door open to say, okay, if someone wants to come in and do an 040 version or optimize it for 040, they can do that, and we'll happily take that, integrate that code. But we will only focus on 080. And so long as the door is still open that someone can do that work, I think that's okay. But yeah, it's also okay to say, sorry, that's not our focus. We leave the possibility for someone to do it.
Yeah. No, I think that makes sense. I mean, we wouldn't want to destroy the compatibility or the functionality of the code that's there already. So yeah, I mean, if we've already got existing code that runs on standard 68K architecture stuff, fine. We just leave it there. We just worry about adding in the optimized versions, assembler or otherwise, just for, you know, for our platform. But yeah, I agree in the sense that as long as we just put the, you know, the correct conditional stuff around any of these optimized blocks of code we use, there's no reason why the code base shouldn't run as is currently. It may not get any better for anyone apart from our users, but that's fine.
But honestly,
ideally, it would be at compile time or before runtime. This decision.
I mean, you're right. It makes no sense to optimize for 030. That processor is just too slow. And for 060, maybe it's also too hard because of the missing instructions. But yeah, at least if someone else wanted to try who's not part of our team, they should have the possibility. If it didn't cost us effort.
Yeah, but honestly, I see a problem here. If I look at AROS now, I see differences in the stack layout. So I would like to change it to be better compatible to the original Amiga OS. And if we do this, and I see John's work here in writing assembler, part of the kernel, and John uses, I would like to have it very easy for John, right? He should write all the register saving once. And maybe he uses a new instruction for that from AMMX, which allows him to push more registers at the same time. So if he takes the effort to write this once in assembly, it's not his responsibility to write 3 different versions for the old CPUs to have the same assembly optionally for the others as well. So I think we could easily, with improvements we do, create a situation where in theory we could run on different platforms, but people would need to put extra work in to make this happen. I would not want to prevent people from this, but I don't see this as our main responsibility.
I think what Deep Submicron is offering is that exactly what you want, Gunnar, is that that John wouldn't have to do anything. All you have to do is put a macro. We do our optimized version and leave the existing code there. But so long as that works, then it means that John doesn't have to go to any super effort. But I'm sure there will be an exception.
Yeah, I mean, we just have different build pipelines for the various platforms. I mean, you could do a standard 68K build of AROS, or we can do an 080 specific build.
And you don't even have to do that. I mean, there's a switch, and you can detect that at compile time.
Yeah.
Sounds like we agree.
We're in violent agreement.
Anyway, you will need to maintain to keep it compatible with the UIE to test quickly your fixes or so you can compile it on the vampires. So anyway, you will need it under emulation to quickly develop it.
Just on a related topic, I don't know if anyone's had this discussion with any of the AROS guys. How do they feel about us forking it?
Oh, good question. I don't know.
I mean, who are the AROS guys? To be honest, the AROS guys are dead, right? They're as much living as the Amiga developers. People which now do AROS are the 3rd generation of taking over a lost project. So we are the 4th generation of taking over now. I don't want to put their effort down, but the original AROS developers are not there anymore. They dropped the project, they left, and the replacement guys of the replacement guys now do stuff on AROS. And their focus is, in my opinion, a lot on Intel and not on Amiga or chipset anymore. So I see us as taking the ball which they dropped now.
And we made this, we have this €5 per card, which we put back in this AROS fund. And from this fund, we gave 2 vampires to 2 AROS developer for free, just to develop, from this fund, not for free, from this fund. And at the beginning, they were working fine on it, but now it's like, lost somewhere. So. Yeah,
I think their focus is in different areas, right? They want UTF-8, or they fix Russian SHA-set or something like that. I think our focus is in a very different area. And I think we can only reach our goal by focusing on this more than they do. I mean, you all know this. You all booted AROS, and AROS never even was able to be used in the boot menu on NTSC. No one of the AROS guys ever tested it. So the problem with these guys will always be, you have to make an agreement, and you changed that. But how will this look on my 5 gigahertz Intel machine on a 4K display? These icons are too small, I can't read them anymore. So you will have, I don't want to have this friction with them to discuss stuff which makes sense for us.
But did anyone have contact to them? Or did anyone heard something? I think it was a good question.
I think Ronnie has good contact with them.
I have regular contact with them, or at least I had until a couple of weeks ago. I haven't been speaking with them. They're also, like Gunnar says, they're dead. So one guy is unemployed. This is calamity. He did a lot of work early on. He has no money, and sometimes he has no money for power or internet. So he's gone for a month at a time. But he has been exceptionally helpful to me to try and understand the build of Aeros and to find my way around the code. And he's also offered on occasion quite recently to help us with bugs, or to help me with bugs.
One of the guys who got the V4 from us.
Sorry?
He is one of this Aros Found people. He got a V4 from us, from the Aros Found.
Yeah, but I had the impression that somehow the relationship went bad. That originally they were hopeful and they wanted to help us, and then something has happened, and now they turned their back to us. So I think maybe they probably expect that we will branch. I think they even Calamity suggested it, but maybe it's a good idea that I say something to them directly, that it's clear, and get a reaction or a feedback from them.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do morally, just because we're about to take all of their work, whether it's theirs or it's legacy or it's dead, but nonetheless, just so they're in the loop that we're now going to basically take their entire code base, fork it, rename it as a new project.
I mean, if you're giving back, if we find bug fixes that are common, there's no reason we can't give that back, and I think that would be fulfilling the obligation enough. But I mean, our defense will always be, well, sorry, you've abandoned 68K. That's clear. Run this on an 060. It barely works. So we're essentially doing the job that they don't want to do.
I mean, I can't see there being any resistance to it. It's just keeping things tidy.
I did, guys. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I have spoken to Stephen Jones, who had I don't know the history of this, but at some point he was either a financial contributor, I don't know how much, to Aeros, and his whole thing is that it be made compatible for as much Amiga hardware as possible. And I was discussing this with him on private messages and Facebook, and I told him that's going to be the optimizations are going to be done for the 080. And of course, through the licensing terms of Aeros, however that works, all that code base would be made available to the community. And so, like Gunnar had said in some of his chats in Slack, the coders get to decide. So if a coder wants to come in and take that code and optimize it so it works on a 60, then that could fine. But the priority is going to be for the 080. But he wanted to talk to you guys. I don't know, what he thinks he can accomplish by talking to you. But his mindset is that it be made as compatible to everything else out there. I told him that's not going to happen, because even like you said perfectly, Aeros really doesn't work on anything below an 060 or even 040, right? And it really needs the optimized either Vampire hardware or PC. So at some point you gotta move on. You can't make a version of this that's going to support an 020 or a 68K bare processor with 500K of RAM, whatever it is. It's kind of absurd. So I made that point to him. So I don't know if you guys in your travels will ever talk to him about that sort of situation. I just want to let you know that he actually wanted to come into this meeting, but I didn't get the link to the last minute. So
okay, thanks for letting us know. I think development is always difficult if you have to test it on too many platforms. And I think we have already too many platforms. We have the V2 and the V4 in parallel. And if you put another CPUs on top of this, I mean, for example, we all know this Speed Guy patches he publishes in these Amiga forums. And he tries to use Move16 for memcopy optimization, for example. And we all know, or at least the guys of us which understand Zorro 3 know that his stuff will not work on every Amiga. So if you want to make it compatible, then you have to understand that, for example, the Warp or whatever card might have a problem to do this instruction of the 060 to a Zorro card, because of how the bus on the Amiga works. And I don't want to be taking care of this, and I don't want to be responsible for testing this. So we will do the solutions which we tested on our stuff. And as you said, if someone else wants to test the other stuff and write the other routines, it's very good and fine for us. We will never prevent someone from this. But this is too much work for our project to be taken off. Because we don't make no money by writing 20 hours different routines for other people.
Of course.
Yeah, I think as long as we document everything, I mean, we sort of clearly lay out wherever we've done an optimization that's platform specific, just make it clear exactly how you would plug in an alternate version. And then, yeah, other people can come in and pick those up for whichever platform they feel like supporting. Just as long as it's not x86, because then we just get rid of them.
Yeah, I mean, John, have you looked at, maybe we need to spend some time looking at the structure. I think you'll find it's really quite easy. Oh, hang on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
It's really quite easy to insert like a conditionally compiled code optimized per processor. It's really quite easy.
Yeah, I've had a quick skim through the repositories over the last week, and it all seems fairly clean. And I mean, getting rid of everything that's not 68K based really does remove about 75% of the whole repository.
Yeah, but I mean, none of that's compiled anyway.
Yeah.
It's ignored, but yeah.
Okay, I had some homework last week. I think Guybrush gave me some homework. I spoke to Zemo. I tried to talk to him, but missed him 2 times. I spoke now with him, so it was very nice. He was talking about the good old times. I also invited him. He said he's not sure if he can make it today. And I have the feeling he believes that our team should split in 2 teams, basically. One focusing on the OS and the other focusing on testing AGA. And my impression is that he thinks he could be contributional to the AGA part, while he doesn't really want to be involved in the OS part, which would be perfectly fine to me. And I think he helped Igor on the V1200 compiles. Maybe Igor, you can say more about the progress on the V1200.
Yes, sorry, I lost connection. I don't know, do you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, okay. Okay. We were working on 1200 version, and we had some problems with registers. So sorry, my wife is telling me something that she loves me. Okay, and several of us were working together, and we made some progress yesterday. And I think that somehow we were just like back in old days when we were working on some project. We were very motivated to do it. And we had to patch ID device and to do some work in code, but at the end it was very good job. So I don't know. Maybe it is realistic that team will divide. So some of us will continue work to improve accelerators. Some will work on AROS, and I don't know. But maybe we can have some tasks, all of us together.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if it needs to be so official as that we actually split the team into 2. We can probably, I think, with guys like Ronnie on board and that, we've got enough people to kind of drive and sort of steer the various different sections. I mean, I think Ronnie's probably best suited to be in charge of the work on AROS. So
yes, somehow I was thinking that dividing the team will be the problem, but after our work lately, I don't think that this will be a problem anymore.
No, we just kind of pair off as we need to. So I mean, if myself, for example, if Ronnie needs a hand with something, then he can just take
wouldn't call
charge.
it divide. I would say here we have different skills, right?
Yes, and yeah,
I'm
different.
Yeah.
a lot better
Exactly.
in VHDL than in C. And maybe Ronnie is very good in C, probably much better than me. So maybe Simo, for example, is better in testing and comparing and doing tests on sprites or copper and stuff like that.
And Jens makes a PCB, so
yeah,
skills and different jobs. Yeah, it's
so
Yes,
more like delegation than dividing a team.
Yeah.
Point here is that all the time I need about some specific task. I need who to ask, and I go to him and talk to him to solve some problem. For example, we ask Flipe to patch the driver for us because we couldn't do it. At some point, we had the idea where should we search in code, but he fixed it at the end. So maybe just connecting those dots and different skills is good. And maybe I didn't use properly this term divide, but I wanted to point that all of us have some different skills, and maybe Gunnar, you are the person who can connect us at some point, because you know that yesterday I contacted you to explain us some part of the code, but luckily we showed you that we can do it without you.
You did well. But
Yes.
tell me quickly. When I was very young, long time ago, I was playing a sport which is very rare here in Europe, which is very common in America. It's called American football, and there you have like several teams in one team. You have the offense, which is optimized or responsible for driving the ball forward, and you have the defense, which is defending, and you have the special people which are doing the kicks, and it's all one team, but it's like 3 different parts of the team in one team. And I think we are the same, right? We have people here which are very strong in the hardware side. Igor is a superhero in soldering and these kind of things, and Jens and Igor are great in PCB layout, much better than me. And we also have people which are very good in understanding C, and other people which are very good in testing. So it's divide, like in offense and defense, like you have in American football teams, maybe the right term, but it's still one team, right? And I think we should operate the same. What I wish for all of us in the team is that every one of us takes extra expense to have another compact flash drive. So whatever OS you use on your Vampire to play games, being it OS3 or Coffin or what, I would love, or I would want that everyone in the team has a compact flash drive with Apollo OS distribution of Kotter. And if Kotter does a new release, that everyone, not only the people which work on it, but everyone, also the other hardware guys in the team, takes the time before the release to test it, to try out their favorite Bubble or BC-Kit game. And everyone helps Kotter here and helps the team to verify that our new release is really tested. So if this happens, it's all fine that every one of us works in what he can do best, or if he can't do anything, I don't know, that he just helps testing or prepare the next stand on the A35 or whatever, or just packs the packages and brings them to the postman like Miri does, right? Everyone can help in the team, but before a release of Kotter's new distro, I really would love that everyone puts in the CF and helps test. If this is done, everything is fine.
Yes, that's normal. But think of all of this like next logical step, because you can't expect from a new operating system by Microsoft or someone else to run on old machines. So this is normal. We push to the max we could old hardware, and we can't accept, can't do it much more for that, because there will be always accelerators with low amount of memory or slower or maybe at some point there won't be any CPU left, and we have an unlimited quantity of FPGA to produce.
Yeah, but this is, I'm not sure I understand you right. I don't think this is our goal. We don't want to test that it works on an Amiga 500. What I expect is that every one of us who has a V4 or a V1200, even if that he uses Apollo OS distro of Kotter, and if he does not use this because he is preferring OS 3 for whatever reason, that he has at least a second CF where he has the Apollo OS of Kotter on, and if we prepare for a release like what we plan for August, that everyone in the team takes the time to test a day or two the new release, right? That we all support this release, and we have no one being
I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think anyone can complain about having to have a second compact flash sitting around.
I think it's a good idea. Absolutely good idea.
Yes, this is okay.
I have a question. Here in the United States, compact flashes are expensive compared to SDs. Is there a reason why you all don't prefer SD cards?
Originally, the Amiga only had IDE. Well, had none, but A600, A1200F, A4000 got IDE, which allowed you to access compact flashes. Compact flashes speak IDE. So this is why we all use IDE and compact flashes. The new Apollo OS now, thanks to Alina's work, can also boot from an SD card. In the very long run, you're right, this is a problem. Compact flashes become more expensive and become more rare. You can get a 16 gigabyte compact flash here in Europe for about 18 euro. This is about $20, which is okay, I think, for all of us to spend. But in the future, the SD cards are cheaper and are much easier to get. And for the next iteration of cards, we will also drop the focus from compact flash and will, as you proposed, go to SD cards because they are cheaper and much easier to get.
One of the things I do is to use IDE bus to SD card adapters. Maybe I didn't explain that. So that's very cheap. So the device to read IDE to SDE is very cheap, and then the SD cards are cheap as well, and it works quite well.
Yeah, you can do this. This should work also.
Yeah, it works real well.
Maybe an example to explain this, we have right now IDE on the V4. We have IDE on the V2 and V1200 and so on. We will, in the PCB which Jens right now layout, drop the IDE. The problem of the IDE is three things. It uses many IOs. You need a lot of wires. And especially the chips, the FPGAs coming out right now, have a very limited number of wires able to run on the voltages that you want to run on the IDE. So saving on those is a good idea. For the IDE, you also need these compact to IDE adapters, which for me are a real pain. I order them from China. Not every packet which I order arrives. It's really a problem. Some of the adapters which arrive, I need to rework. So I'm soldering or removing parts of every adapter basically that I get. And of 10 adapters which I test, I throw 2 away because they are crap. So the quality coming from China is terrible. And by the many packages which do not show up here, they give me a real problem to produce the V4s that we are shipping. And as you said, the compact flashes are getting harder to acquire too. So it makes absolutely sense to avoid all these problems in the future and to go for the SD card. So this is what we are planning to do in the next version.
We use them anyway because we got ports for free on accelerator cards. So basically, we needed to use only 3 or 4 I/O ports from FPGA to have a CF card working. But in standalone situations is different, and you need to use many I/O ports for that. On Amiga, we got them nearly from free, directly connected on the bus. So it was logical stance to do it.
The Amiga shares the bus, the Amiga has a ROM on it, the Amiga has the Amiga on it, the Amiga has the IDE on it. So it's all one bus with a few enable signals. So if you have to talk to the Amiga, you can also for free talk to a local IDE bus. This is correct. But for the standalone, it's really expensive. It needs like 20 extra wires. And the main problem is basically the bad quality. So the cards which I get from China have often bent wires. So the connectors for the CF, 2 out of 4 or so, I need to, with a pincette, I don't know how to say this in English, I have to...
Tweezers.
Yeah, I have to fix the wires. This is really a pain in the ass. You won't believe how many hours I spent on fixing those CF adapters. And this will only get worse in the future. So next year and the year after, the compact flashes will get more rare. So it just makes no sense no more.
2 days ago, when we had a working core for Vampire 1200, but because my CF card died or adapter or cable, I couldn't see it working. Later on, I found out the CF card was making problems, and we had the working core, but we couldn't see what's wrong with it. So basically, CF cards are making us only problems because those cables or adapters like Big Instead are very bad quality. So yes, it would be good to drop them in the future, even for accelerators.
Well, our hourly meeting is over. Who wants to say something or has a question or a topic we have forgotten to cover?
Big Gunnar, would you be open to an edit of this video uploaded to my YouTube channel with, of course, your approval?
Yeah, that's sure. I mean, yeah.
Okay. I will at some point produce a link that you can review, you and Mary can review and approve. And once it is approved, I shall upload it. Because I think the way your speaking ability is actually quite good, and you're able to break the concepts down to folks in the Amiga scene who maybe aren't very technical in an interesting way. And I think this also makes for good publicity for the team, that show we are active, that we are friendly to one another, and that we engage in the process in a very vigorous way. I think that's very good.
I agree. Thank you for the work.
Yeah.
I think we should be more visible.
To each other.
I'm sorry?
That's a really good idea.
All right, folks, I'll make that happen then.
Is there time for me to get naked yet? Still?
I'll take a rain check, Ronnie.
I was about to say, I'm really glad I don't have my webcam set up.
That's precisely why mine's off.
Ronnie, go away, please. Go home.
That's not what you said to me last night.
Well, thank you very much. Hope to see you next week again.
Thank you.
All righty,
Bye.
folks. God bless.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
So langsam kriege ich Routine.
Ja. Ja, ich muss aber noch ein bisschen mehr Wissen einbringen. Ein